Welcome and namaste, yogis. I invite you to take a practice with me focusing on the third eye chakra, which will really help you to tap into your sense of your own insight, really trust your inner voice, your inner knowing, and allow that sense of trust to guide your path forward. So with that said, let's go ahead and begin. We are going to start in a child's pose. So you can feel free to spread your knees as wide as your mat, or you can keep the knees together, your choice. And then just start to walk the hands out in front of you. You can bring the third eye to the mat. And right away, just start to tap into your breathing. Take a few cleaning breaths here to arrive to your mat, to arrive to your practice. And begin to immediately just listen to what your voice is telling you. What is the energy that you're bringing to your practice today? With our focus on the third eye chakra today, I invite you to set an intention for your practice around this theme of insight, which is associated with the third eye chakra. Your sense of intuition, your sense of inner knowing. What is a question that you would have for yourself that you could ask to your higher self? Take a moment to think about what that question might be. What are you seeking the answer to? And just allow that question to guide you through today's practice. Be open to any answers that might come forth as you move your body through the poses today. Once you are ready, begin to gently blink the eyes open and then start to come onto the hands and knees to a tabletop position. Let's just start by gently bringing in some movement to the wrists and the hips, just taking circles in one direction and then reversing that in the opposite direction. Really feeling into the wrist joints there. And come to a place of stillness. Go ahead and take the fingertips out towards the sides, the long sides of the mat, and then just rock back and forth gently. Feeling a little bit of a different stretch through the wrist there. Slowly bringing in some lubrication into those joints. This time, take the fingertips to face towards the body, and then just hold this in a static stretch. You can certainly feel free to bring some movement into the wrists if that feels comfortable for you. But this might be a little bit intense, so we're just going to keep it static here. Breathing through any sensations that might be arising. And take that back to forward, and then gently bring the wrist on the right hand, the palm to face upward. So the back of your palm is pressing into the mat. Keep the wrists aligned there, but just gently press into that right top of palm there. Keeping as much of a bend as needed, because this may be a little bit intense. And then let's just switch to the other side. And then gently press into the top of the left palm there. And go ahead and release. Let's go ahead and set up for cat-cow. So from here, your tabletop position, start to round the spine up like you're a Halloween cat. And then from there, inhale, bringing the chest forward and tilting the tailbone up towards the sky. Continue with this motion, linking breath to movement. Inhaling and exhaling. Just bringing in some small movement to wake up the spine as we warm up for our practice today. And slowly come back to neutral. From here, start to ground into your left palm. We're coming into a thread the needle. So release the right hand and start to draw that right arm up towards the sky, and then begin to thread that arm behind the left, bringing the shoulder down to the mat. We're keeping our weight in the shoulder there rather than our head, so that's very important. You can keep your left palm there beside your face. You can walk it out in front of you, or you could even take a gentle bind here. So your choice, take whichever position serves you best. And then just breathe here. Just really feeling into that mid-back region as we twist here. Really opening that left side of the chest towards the left side of the room. And then on your next inhale, you can bring the hand back to the side of your face from wherever it's at, and then start to push the floor away, counter stretching that right arm back up towards the right side and gently placing it back down to the mat. Taking it to the other side, grounding down through the right hand this time, and then drawing the left hand up towards the left side of the room. And then exhale to bring it behind the right arm, placing the shoulder onto the mat. And then you can walk that right hand out or take it into a bind. Inhale to release. And exhale to bring your hand back to the side of your face, pressing the floor away, counter stretching the left arm up towards the left and bringing it back down to the mat. Let's go ahead and tuck the toes here and start to send the hips back and soften into an active child's pose here. Arms are straight, really pushing into the balls of the feet, getting a little bit of a stretch through the toes there. And inhale to come back up through center. You can walk the knees back just a little bit and then start to lower down to the belly. Release the toes if you haven't, and inhale up through baby cobra. Exhale to release, pushing the floor away, coming back in through our tabletop and back into an active child's pose. Inhale to come up. Bring that right foot in between the palms and then start to come up. You can rest your hands on top of your thighs, or you can start to raise them up and overhead, coming into a low lunge, Ajna. You can untuck that back foot there. Really squeezing the thighs in towards one another, engaging through the belly. And exhale to release. Go ahead and send the hips back, coming into a runner's lunge here. Half split, half Hanumanasana. You can feel free to ground the toes there into the mat. You can send the toes up towards the sky. Whatever you choose, just ensure that the hips are staying square and neutral. And then go ahead and release. We'll send that foot back and then come back down to the mat, down to the belly. Upward, breathe up to baby cobra. Exhale to release. Come up through tabletop and then step that left foot forward this time. Coming up into Anjaneyasana on the left side, squeezing the inner thighs in towards one another. You can take the hands where you'd like. Squeezing the belly in and up. And exhaling to release. Send the hips back into half Hanumanasana, half split. Squaring the hips here. And then we'll go ahead and step that right foot up to meet the left, hips distance. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to release. And inhale up to standing mountain pose, hands to heart center. Release. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Exhale to fold. Inhale, flatten back. Exhale, plant the palms, and then step back to plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. This is our first downward facing dog, so feel free to pedal out the heels here, walking out your dog. You can keep the knees as bent as you'd like. Sending the chest back, hips up towards the sky. And on your next inhale, send your right foot up and back, and then exhale to step it in between the palms, coming up to our crescent lunge. Hands up and overhead, or you can keep them at heart center if you'd like. And exhale to release down into warrior one. You can step that right foot out just a little bit if you want to widen the stance, if that's more comfortable for you. Certainly do that. And exhale to release. Go ahead and interlace the fingers behind your bottom there, and then pull downward to open up the chest. From there, exhale to bend forward at the hips, coming into our humble warrior. So in this pose, we are, our shoulder, our right shoulder is aligned with the knee. As much as possible, you can feel free to come up above the thigh there. But we don't want to be resting too much on our thigh if possible. Really bring the strength into your legs there, grounding down into both feet equally to keep yourself elevated there. And then inhale to come up. As you release the interlaced fingers, go ahead and come up onto the ball of the left foot, bring the hand to heart center, and start to walk that back foot in until you're able to start to hinge forward at the hips, coming into warrior three, Virabhadrasana 3. Really grounding down through that standing foot. And exhale to release the hands down towards the mat. Allow the gaze to look towards your right knee, keeping the left toes facing the mat. So really keeping the hips square here in our standing split. And exhale to send the foot back. Plant both palms and come down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, feel free to keep the knees as bent as you need here. On your next inhale, send that left foot up and back. Exhale to bring that foot in between the palms, coming up to crescent lunge. Exhale to come into warrior one. Again, feel free to toe heel that left foot out towards the side so that you are in more of a hip distance position with your footing. And then you can go ahead and exhale your hands and interlace them behind your bottom. This time, switch the interlacing so that your opposite thumb is on the top now. And squeeze down towards the mat to open up the chest, and then hinge over into humble warrior. Same cues as the other side, really engaging through both feet equally to keep you elevated above that left thigh. And inhale to come up. Release the interlacing of the fingers Square off the hips, hands to heart center as you walk in that back foot. Ground down through that standing foot as you are able to raise that back foot, coming into a warrior 3 position on this side. And exhale to release, coming into standing split. Gaze is pointing towards the standing knee, and then toes on the right are facing down towards the mat, keeping the hips square, squeezing inner thighs in towards one another. And exhale to release that foot down to the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to release. And inhale to come up to standing. Hands to heart center. So let's go ahead and come to the center of our mat. We're going to come into a yogi squat malasana. So go ahead and bring the feet out towards to the outer edges of your mat and start to come down into your yogi squat. So we want to check our alignment here to ensure that our knees are facing in the same direction that our toes are facing in. So just take a look there. You are more than welcome to use the mat during this series. You can feel free to sit on a block. Use a block to sit on if you'd like. Optional, feel free to take that option. As you're here, just allow the elbows and the knees to press in towards one another. Really aim for a flat back here. And just breathe through this pose. We're going to release the hands to the mat now, keeping them about shoulder distance apart. We're going to be setting up for crow. So to do that, we are going to press into the mat equally with both palms. Bring the heels in towards one another so that they are touching. Your feet are still facing outward. Your toes are pointing outward, and you're kind of in this like first position, like a ballet first position. So to prepare, we're just going to come up into the hips and then start to play with kind of coming up on each tiptoe. Okay, bringing the heel in towards the glutes. And immediately you're going to feel a heating sensation through the core. We're really warming up our core for this very intense core strengthening pose, actually. So we'll do this a couple more times, really squeezing the elbows in towards one another as you ground down into the palms equally. And then go ahead and sit back on your heels, and you can just take a moment to breathe here. See how that feels in your body. And let's go ahead and try that again, this time maybe playing with coming into a crow, okay? And again, you're more than welcome to use a block here if you wanted to balance your third eye on the block at the highest setting there, or even at the mid setting, or you can even start with the feet on top of the block, and that's just going to bring the floor closer to you. So go ahead and play with that. Maybe you're able to take flight into your crow. Breathe through that a few times. Really pushing the floor away, keeping the elbows in towards one another. And then we'll meet in Malasana. So take a few moments just to ground yourself here after taking flight. Feel how that experience went. And then go ahead and release, coming out into a forward fold. So bring the feet back to parallel. Just let the head hang heavy. All right, so we're going to walk the hands and feet out to a downward facing dog. From here, inhale the left foot up into a three-legged dog.
You can go ahead and open the hip there. Maybe even bend that top knee and just kind of let that foot dangle. And then from here, we're going to start to come up on the right toes and the left fingertips. And we are going to start to send that top foot back. And then when you're able to trust yourself to fall back, we're going to come into wild thing. Okay, so really grounding down into that right foot, especially the big toe mound. Pressing up through your hips and your chest. And coming out of the pose the same way that we came in, coming back through three-legged dog. And then exhale to release to downward facing dog. Inhale that right foot behind you. Step it in between the palms, and that's going to allow you to come to the long edge of the left side of your mat. So go ahead and release into a wide-legged forward fold here. You can shake out the head, shake it out no. What is it that you want to release? Shake it out yes. What do you want to welcome more of into your life? From here, take the left palm and ground it into the mat directly beneath your face. You can also use a block here to bring the mat closer to you. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. Keeping the hips neutral, go ahead and start to bring the torso towards the right, opening up towards the right. And then maybe from there, you're able to raise that right hand towards the sky, palm facing the right side. Breathing here. And exhale to release. We're just going to exchange the right palm with the left, and then start to turn the torso towards the left side, keeping the hips square. And then starting to float that left palm up towards the sky, grounding down through your right palm, opening up through the chest towards the left side of the room. Exhale to release. From here, we're simply going to walk towards the left foot. We should be facing the back side of our mat now. Go ahead and send that left foot back into downward facing dog. From here, we're going to set up for wild thing on the other side now. So inhale that right foot up and behind you. You can go ahead and open the hip there. Maybe bend that top knee, dangling the foot. And then again, coming up onto the left toes and the right fingertips, start to slowly come back until you can trust yourself to fall, and then open up to wild thing, pressing into that left foot and pressing up through the hips and the chest there. Feeling a nice extension through the back body as we open up our heart. Exhale to release that right hand back to the ground, coming back into a three-legged dog, and exhaling to release. Exhale that left foot up and back, and then just come forward into a pigeon pose on the left side. So take a moment to check out your alignment here. So the left knee is kind of facing the diagonal, the left corner of the mat. And then just take a peek back to ensure that your feet are behind your hips there on the right side. From here, you can go ahead and release down to the mat. You can come all the way down to the mat. You can stack the palms or the fists and rest your third eye on top, or even use a mat excuse me, a block here. So we're going to take several breaths here. I'm just going to find some release in the hips as we stimulate our third eye center. Maybe you rock the head from side to side to gently bring some release as you massage the third eye region. Relax the jaws and the shoulders away from the ears. And just feel into what you might be releasing here. Lots of emotions get stored in the hips, so this is an excellent way to release any pent-up emotions, or maybe even thoughts or feelings that might be holding you back, literally holding you back from moving forward. And inhale to come up. You can go ahead and sit back. And then we're going to take that right foot on the outside of the left knee, ground down equally into both of your hips there, and really press into that right foot. We're going to be coming into a twist here, so feel free to even extend that bottom leg and foot if you'd like. You can simply grasp around that top knee, or you can find the elbow behind it. Inhale to rise up, and then exhale to take the gaze over the right shoulder. So we're going to take a few breaths here. Whenever we come into these twists, it's an opportunity for us to not only cleanse the body physically of toxins, but it's a way for us to energetically clear unwanted things from our body. Any of those unwanted thoughts or feelings, allow them to be released here and wrung out from the body. And exhale to release. We're going to take that top foot, the right foot, over towards the right diagonal corner of the mat, coming into a Janu Shirsasana, facing the left long side of the mat. So from here, just extend that right arm towards the right foot, and then bring the left arm up and overhead as we come into a lateral bend over to the right, opening the left side of our body, keeping the ears melted away from, or the shoulders melted away from the ears. And go ahead and release. Going to take the series onto the other side. So we're just going to shift our hips here to come into our pigeon pose onto the left side. So just check your alignment there with your right knee pointing towards the right diagonal corner. And then just peek behind you to ensure that that left foot is behind the left hips there. And again, take whatever option feels good for you here, whether you come down to rest your forehead on the mat, on the palms or on the fists, or even onto a block. Really working on sending both hips down into the mat here. And letting go of whatever needs to be released. And then inhale to come up, coming out of the pose. And then we're going to take the twist onto this side, so letting that left foot step onto the outside of the bent right knee, grounding down into that left foot. Again, you have the option to straighten the bottom leg if you'd like. You can take the grasp around the top knee or even bind the left elbow behind it. Inhale to straighten and then exhale to look over the left shoulder. Again, really melting the shoulders away from the ears. If you have your elbow bound, just gently allowing that to let you go deeper into the twist. Consider what you are releasing in this moment. And exhale to release. Let's go ahead and take that left foot over to the left corner of the mat. The right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh, taking Janu Sirsasana to the left. So bringing that right arm up and overhead, and just allowing for a nice stretch and opening through the right side of the body, bending laterally towards the left. And inhale to release. All right, so from here, we're just going to lower ourselves down back to the mat. You can grasp behind the thighs to assist you down to the mat, one vertebra at a time. And then from here, you can bring the knees in towards the chest and just rock the knees from side to side, maybe take some circles with the knees in one direction and then in the other direction. We'll just take one more pose here, happy baby, bringing the elbows to the inside of your knees and then grasping the outside edge of the foot. Really feeling the length of your spine here along the mat. You can roll from side to side. Feel free to straighten the knees if you'd like, to get a little bit of a stretch through the hamstrings. And then release, sending the feet out as we come into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So allow the arms to open to the sides, allow the feet to hang heavy and just fall open. And just allow everything to release and relax into the mat here. Release any control over any parts of the body, including your breath. Release any wrinkles in the scalp, in the forehead, any wrinkles that might be between the brows. Just allow all of that skin to be soft. Allow the eyes to fall in their sockets. Allow the cheekbones to hollow. Allow the jaw to unclench. Soften the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. Soften the shoulders and the neck, the arms, the chest. Allow your belly to soften. Allow your hips to be open. Relaxing the knees, relaxing down through the calves and the ankles, the soles of the feet and the toes. Feel yourself being very relaxed now from head to toe. And just enjoy all of the benefits that you've reaped in completing today's practice. And just connect with your intention that you set at the top of practice today. Notice if anything has come up
Notice if any answers have been revealed to you, and just know that that was something that you did. You made that happen. And just know that all the answers that you seek, they can be found from within. So just take the next few moments to sit in silence. I invite you to stay here for as long as you need. If you're ready to move on to the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, you can begin to bring some soft, gentle movements back into the body. Maybe deepening the breath, wiggling the fingers and toes. And then give yourself a nice stretch from head to toe. And then roll yourself onto the right side, allowing your right bicep to act as a pillow for your head. And just take one last moment here to collect all the benefits that you've received from practice today. And once you're ready, go ahead and push yourself away from the floor, keeping the eyes closed, and just come into a comfortable seated position of choice. Allow the hands to rest on your thighs. Bring the hands to heart center. And just thank yourself for showing up to the mat today. Thank yourself for honoring your practice, for connecting with your third eye chakra, your space of intuition. Allow the palms to remain touching, and then bring the thumbs to your third eye, connecting with that third eye center. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. Let me know what you think of today's practice. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave me a comment. And let me know what you'd like to see more of. I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Would love to have you on this journey through the chakras and have you a part of the community. So thank you once again. I hope that this practice has served you well, and I hope to practice again with you soon. Namaste.